This is not Riyadh. It's the Riviera, Saint-Tropez, Cannes, Monte Carlo, a strip of well-oiled French hedonism and unchecked excess. Where $500 bottles of rosé champagne are used in food fights. It is also a place where some of the richest and most powerful Saudi royals spend the summer, far from the unrest, far from the violence, far from the threats of Osama bin Laden.
When I see this, I think that they fiddle while Rome burns.
Fleeing the heat for European resorts has become a royal Saudi tradition. Until he became too sick to travel, the Saudi King Fahd would arrive every August in his personal 747 aircraft. That's him in the wheelchair, with a huge entourage, to spend the summer at a gigantic palace he had built outside Marbella, Spain, used at most just once a year.
This spending is happening while the terrorists are threatening guerrilla war. This is not about vacation. This is about escape.
May Yamani saw firsthand the lavish lifestyle of the Saudi royal family when her father, Sheikh Yamani, served as oil minister of Saudi Arabia in the 1970s.
Young princes and
now living in exile in London, a fellow at the Royal Institute of International Affairs, she has emerged as one of the harshest critics of the Saudi royal family.
There is no attempt at discretion. People hear about the hundreds of cars, restaurants, lavish spending, and it angers them because they've been taught that this wealth belongs to Allah and then belongs to them.
This summer, even as Saudi authorities braced for a new round of al-Qaeda attacks, royal family members were once again all over the Riviera, in the water, on the beach, in the shops. Fancy jewelry was going fast, including this $1.2 million emerald and diamond necklace sold to a Saudi prince. Also hot was the latest in Parisian fashion, such as this $10,000 Christian Lacroix outfit with purple raccoon boas sold to a Saudi princess. The rise in the price of oil has been good for someone. In the harbor in Cannes, we counted at least 7 huge Saudi yachts, some of the biggest in the world. The yacht of Prince Sultan, the Saudi defense minister, here. The yacht of one of the king's sons there. And in the middle of them all, complete with its own helicopter, the yacht of the Saudi prince, who is described as the 5th richest man in the world, Prince Al-Walid bin Talal.
We're just vacationing like any other vacationers, and I'm with my daughter, my son here. They're jet skiing right now, and they're skiing innocently like any other family. You know, it's like any other family, yes?
Well, not quite, right?
No, excuse me, like any other family in the middle of the sea.
After months of trying to find a member of the royal family willing to talk with us about what some see as a crisis facing the kingdom, we were summoned to Cannes and transported to the yacht of Prince Al-Walid, one of the 5,000 Saudi princes. Prince Al-Walid said he was eager to dispel what he calls the myth that his royal family is threatened by any crisis.
These are no crisis. These are issues that any country have to face. But I cannot call these crises.
So in Saudi Arabia, you don't see a crisis?
I don't see crisis whatsoever.
There was certainly no sense of crisis on board the prince's yacht, the Kingdom. The 47-year-old divorced billionaire, whose uncle is the king, was eager to show us around the vessel.
Yeah, this is the main saloon here.
281 feet long, once owned by Donald Trump.
Don't forget, it's a used boat.
It's a used boat.
Oh, yes, that's a used boat.
Just a used boat.
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
Best you
exactly,
can do.
Mr. Trump enjoyed it. I'm enjoying it.
In this rare glimpse inside the royal yacht, the prince told us he allows no liquor on board.
These are the old planes and new planes.
But there's just about everything else, including models of his fleet of private jets, missing only the new 747 jumbo jet he is adding next spring. Do you ever get a sense that it's just all too much?
No, no. Look, wealth is a blessing. And if it's utilized properly, without abusing it, I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
In fact, the prince is proud to be known as one of the richest people in the world.
Why should I be embarrassed?
22, $23 billion?
Yeah, thanks to God, it is around that.
Prince Al-Walid has shrewdly invested in dozens of American and European companies, their logos on display, including, as he reminded us, a very familiar one.
I invested in Disney. And Disney happens to be owning ABC also.
That is correct.
So indirectly I have a stake with you, so don't upset me much.
I see.
No. That's not a threat, don't worry.
Not a
It's a joke.
But what is no joke is the way most people live back in Saudi Arabia. A sharp contrast to the royal family's Riviera lifestyle. Those not in the royal family, the overwhelming majority, face a faltering economy despite the rising oil prices. Official estimates of unemployment for young Saudi men are put at 1 out of 3.
And I think of the anger of those young men who are reading about all this and discussing it on the websites.
This is no secret to the people of Saudi Arabia.
It's no more a secret. The princes are asleep.
But that's not how the prince sees it from the deck of his yacht in the Mediterranean. He sees the royal family as beloved by its subjects.
The interaction and the relation between the Saudi ruling family and the people, I would say, is further than ideal. It's utopian.
It's utopia.
I think it's ideal. And if you would like to press me a little bit more, I would say utopia, yes.
Utopia.
Yes.
But if true, there's trouble in utopia. Each night, a dissident Islamic group beams a satellite broadcast into Saudi Arabia, calling for an end to the royal family. The broadcast comes from London, where this man, Saad al-Faqih, a former surgeon and university professor, berates the royal family's lavish spending as a mockery of the Islamic religion. Al-Faqih wore a headdress when he talked with us.
Actually, they are enemies of Islam. They are actually destroying the name of Islam.
The Saudis have tried to block al-Faqih's satellite transmissions and recently accused him of being part of a terrorist plot to assassinate members of the royal family. Are you someone who has plotted to kill members of the royal family?
Of course not. If I thought it is a good thing, I would have worked on it.
Your answer is no.
The answer is no.
You don't want to see them assassinated.
Well, it's good to see them disappear. It's good to see them disappear.
When al-Faqih used his broadcast last year to call for public demonstrations in Saudi Arabia, more than 200 people took to the streets. The first time in memory such an event had taken place. Most of those involved were arrested.
Well, you know, the official position of Saudi Arabia is that public demonstrations are not allowed.
And how do you feel about that?
To me, really, I'm indifferent to that.
Indifferent.
And personally, frankly speaking.
But the most immediate threat to the Saudi royal family is that of Osama bin Laden, who comes from a wealthy Saudi family himself. This is how he put it in a 1998 interview with John Miller, then of ABC News.
They sin and do not value God's gift. We predict their destruction and dispersal.
I act like any other person in the world.
Not like a prince.
It's a blessing.
Prince Al-Walid walks along the beachfront boulevards of the Riviera with a large group of bodyguards, but he says he's not worried about bin Laden's threats. As a member of the royal family, do you feel personally threatened by Al-Qaeda? Are you worried about your own security?
Frankly speaking, you know, the quick answer is no. Look, we're winning the war in Saudi Arabia against Al-Qaeda.
You're winning the war.
There are early indications that we may be winning the war.
But just this week, there was a new round of violence involving suspected bin Laden followers. A continued threat to the Saudi royal family that did not disappear while the princes spent the summer on the Riviera. Another summer of discontent back home.
The princes know that they are losing power. They know that things are changing.
And what we discovered about some of the other royal princes, their alleged roles in prostitution rings and cocaine smuggling, certainly won't help. This is Monte Carlo on the French Riviera, home to one of Europe's top nightclubs, Jimmy's. The scene of what would become a wild night. Our 2020 investigation, the royal family of Saudi Arabia.
Jimmy's was an after-hour club in Monaco that if you didn't have money, you didn't belong there.
But a 2020 undercover team worked its way inside, including cameraman Tony Foreman.
When we got there, I think it was about 2:30 in the morning, the joint was packed. We were there to try to find a group of Saudi royals who we had been told might be at the club. We found them. They were there with women and a lot of booze.
As the Saudis left the club, our team followed them back to their huge yacht and saw a new round of women arriving.
I filmed all of that, and then I felt we'd gotten enough. And I said, let's get out of here.
That's when trouble began. We were spotted by two men from the royal entourage who gave chase.